Right, Monokuma Rock, here we go. He's roaring at me. We stepped onto the escalator and ascended toward the gaping maw of Monokuma Rock. And that's when I suddenly noticed it. I noticed our lined up silhouettes kept getting smaller and smaller. But I can't turn back now. If I turn back, I won't be able to press forward. And when everyone was inside Monokuma Rock, the elevator began its deep descent as usual. But nobody said a word. As we stood there trying to figure out what to say to each other, the elevator descended deeper and deeper. And when it descended as far as it could go, it finally stopped. The elevator doors opened slowly, almost tantalizingly so. Light poured through from the other side, eroding the boundaries of the darkness. And I walked into that place. Third try, let's go. Hello, Bubbles. We got the ghost bungalows.
My, it feels pretty toothless with all these empty seats. Well, 2 people got killed at the same time, and Nekomaru's not here either. Is Nekomaru really not participating? If he's alive, you should invite him.
Victory screech! Oh shit. That's a victory sheep. How you doing tonight, Bubbles? As I was saying earlier, I feel like I have some guesses as to who the killer might be for this one, but like nothing really hard down at the moment. I'm thinking like, you're celebrating your birthday again? Hell yeah! You doing like a party tonight, or are you just celebrating because you can? Your birthday was Thursday. Because it was Wednesday I said happy birthday because it hit 12 in my time zone. So it'll be Thursday. That was 3 days ago. What you doing to celebrate tonight?
Why bother? What? Now then, let's begin. It's the beginning of the long-awaited class trial. Please, enjoy it to your heart's content.
My dad made wings, a ribeye roast, and bought me cherry pie. Just family dinner. It was Thursday. Yes. Hell yeah. Also, hell yeah. Today's... roast wings and cherry pie sounds like a very good meal to have. So, definitely worth celebrating. I don't know if you guys celebrate it down in the States, but up in Canada, we celebrate Victoria Weekend, or May 2-4, as we just call it. And it's like the opening of the summer season, like most of the national parks, stuff like that, they open. So I was out at the campsite today visiting my parents and a bunch of family members. They had a lobster and steak. It's very sour cherry pie. I love it. Wonderful. I'm not big on sour flavors. If it's something like more sweet, that's when I tend to like things. But hey, if you like it, you like it. And that makes it all the better. And so, the curtain to the third class trial was about to open. Ibuki Miyota, the ultimate musician. She was really loud, but she was the mood maker of our group. When I was with her, all of my pain and suffering just seemed to melt away. Hiyoko Seonji, the ultimate traditional dancer. Just from looking at her adorable face, you'd never know she was actually selfish and foul-mouthed. She was trying to change herself. She was desperately trying to come to terms with Mahiru's death. The person who killed those two is among us. I definitely can't believe it. But whether I believe it or not is irrelevant. Unless I figure out the truth, I won't be able to escape from this hell. That's why I must find out, no matter the cost. For our sake. For our friend's sake. For Ibuki and Hyoko's sake. And so, the curtain to the third-class trial is about to open. This life-threatening trial billowing with hope and despair has begun. Yes, please. I'd like to say my progress. Yes. You have fun? You have no idea how happy I was when Hyoko was dead. I mean, like, only death I cheered for. I mean, I'm definitely not cheering for her death, but, like, I'm very happy she's no longer part of the game. Because she's just... Oh? Oh, shit! Bits! Oh! I forgot I had that little gnome guy for the bits. Oh, thank you very much, Bubs. 3, 4, 5... It's 6? How do the numbers work? 6 bits! Thank you very much. Yeah, much appreciated. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. I posted some pics on Twitter of, like, my pups. I love gnome guy. I like the little surprise sound. Just makes me laugh. But yeah, I don't know. This trial feels weird because I don't know. They had the whole despair disease thing happen with Ibuki, Nagito, and the sports girl. I forget her name right now. Like, that just felt rough. Like, it's a very weird motive to be like, hey, we're going to, in the case of like 3 of you, just fully cripple you right now. The person who has been, like, you know, punk, rebel against the cause is now forced to do everything anybody tells her to do. The most physically combative person on the island can no longer defend herself. And Nagito, who, for as crazy as he sounds, always tells the truth, can now only tell lies. Like, the despair disease feels like a very weird motive, and I don't really like the way... Okay, I think it's cool in game. It feels like a very unfair motive, you know? Like, 3 people's autonomy have been taken from them for this trial. They have him back now, which is good. But, like, it's a very shitty motive, is basically how I'm looking at it. It's fun and it's different, sure. But, like, this trial has a different feel to it than the other trials. If that makes sense. What skills do I have? So I should definitely have some more. Unlock some bullets, right? Man, I really do not have enough skill points unlocked here. Alright, let's just finish preparations and let's get going. All rise.
Now then, let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial.
Alright.
During the class trial, you will present your arguments for who the killer is and vote for who done it. If you vote correctly, then only the blackened will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong person...
I have to laugh. Like, I have to. Because fucking Hyoko's sign is so much shorter than the rest. I don't know, some about the signs in this, some of them just make me laugh. Like, Hyoka's sign being so much smaller than everybody else's, and like Tetsu having like a fork and knife instead of an X. That's a little bit of brevity.
I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will earn the right to leave this island.
Hell yeah.
Oh well, who cares about this boring explanation? Let's get on with it already.
Let's-a go.
I don't mind starting the trial, but I don't really have a grasp of how the case played out.
Yeah, Nagito wasn't here for most of it.
You know, because I was asleep the whole time. Even if you do grasp it, you're just gonna confuse the heck out of us, aren't you?
But Nagito's not alone.
Akane.
I don't really get it either.
Yeah, Akane was also out of it for all of this.
You're fine. Your head's empty anyway.
Come on, Soda.
Empty head? Huh. What's wrong with that? Listen up. The emptier your head, the more dreams you can stuff inside it, you know?
You know what? At least that's based.
Anyway, we shouldn't proceed with the trial if those two can't participate in the arguments. Since he's the first witness, why don't we ask Hajime to explain the incident and the sequence of events?
Alright, how do we do this?
Then,
Let's start with when we split into the hospital team and motel team because of the despair disease. The hospital team consisted of Nagito, Ibuki, and Akane, who were infected, and Mikan, Fuyuhiko, and me.
The other 5 on the motel team were myself, Gundam, Kazuichi, Chiaki, and Hyoko.
Spending the night at the hospital was prohibited, so Hajime and I had to sleep at our cottages.
I woke up at my cottage on the day the incident happened. Mikan came by to wake me up and told me that Nagito had recovered from his symptoms. We immediately headed over to the hospital, and after we confirmed his recovery, I made Mikan rest in the on-call room since she hadn't slept all night, while I waited in the hospital lobby. And then, I saw the incoming signal light on the surveillance camera blinking before our scheduled time. When I pressed the button to turn on the monitor, what appeared on screen was a video of someone wearing a hospital gown and a hemp bag on their head, climbing a stepladder.
Amazing! That's such a heart-pounding story! And then what did you do, Hajime?
I tried to stop them, of course. I rushed out of the hospital and ran to where the video was being recorded, the music venue. But it was too late. By the time I arrived, the person wearing the hemp bag on their head was already hanging from the ceiling.
Just like that, thank you very much for the recap, Hajime.
I thought I should tell the others right away, so I headed to the motel.
Why the motel?
That's where everybody was staying.
Because it was close to the music venue, and unlike the hospital, there were more able-bodied people there. At least, that's what I thought. But the only person who came with me was Chiaki.
But I remember feeling a little relieved because not long after, we met up with Mikan and Fuyuhiko.
We were also looking for Ibuki since she disappeared from our sight.
After I rested for a bit, I started counting everyone at the hospital. And then I noticed Ibuki was gone. So I sprinted out of the hospital. Coincidentally, I ran into Fuyuhiko. So I fled with him in various ways to see if he could help me out.
What does that mean, Mikan?
Various ways?
Don't say it like that and confuse people.
Why are you blushing?
After I heard from those two that Ibuki disappeared, I had a feeling she was the person wearing the hemp bag. So I immediately led them to the music venue.
But the door wouldn't open. Since we had no other option, the 4 of us broke down the door. And when that happened, we didn't just find Ibuki's body. We also found Hyoko's, and not just that. Her body was taped to a pillar.
Still not sure how they managed that.
That's when we heard the body discovery announcement. Not once, but twice in a row.
Yeah, so we confirmed they were both dead in that moment.
And so we decided to lower the hanged body, didn't we?
When we removed the hemp bag, just as we feared, it was Ibuki.
So that's how the case played out. Thank you. I understood it very easily.
Now, what's Akane's input on this?
Well, it's clear what the problem with this case is. When Hajime left the music venue, who...
Wait, how do I know anything Hajime just said is true?
Oh. Huh?
Sorry, I'm only being impartial right now. And the story I just heard is clearly suspicious.
Yeah, we were alone for too much of that.
Hajime, if you're the only one who saw the hanging video, and the first one to discover Ibuki's body, then you could be lying as much as you want right now, right?
Yeah. We don't have anybody else backing it up at the moment.
Lie? Why would I lie? Obviously. So you could make us ignore what might be an inconvenient truth for you.
Do you doubt me?
If you're not lying, I would like you to prove it.
We're in the hot seat now.
Come on, try to prove it to me. Prove you're not the killer.
God. It's just as Kazuichi said. Nagito's the kind of guy who'll just confuse us and make matters worse. Damn it. Shouldn't have explained it to Nagito. I'm in trouble now thanks to that. See, this is the thing. It makes sense. For too much of that story, Hajime is the only person there. So it makes sense to question if he's telling the truth or not. It's only because Hajime knows that he's telling the truth, and we know Hajime is telling the truth, that we think Nagito's causing trouble. But he has a damn good point in this. In a situation like this, it would be way too easy for Hajime to be a liar misrepresenting the facts. Yeah, he's not wrong. Exactly. Look, Nagito is Nagito, but he has a point on this one. Alright. What do we got? Make your argument. Let's go with maybe invitation ticket.
Hajime's testimony is clearly suspicious.
If Hajime's testimony is a lie, then the fact that Ibuki hung herself...
That would also be a lie.
Alright.
I don't think I can deny that possibility. After all, Hajime is the only witness.
Why would Hajime lie?
Well, obviously, because he's the killer.
Did Hajime kill both of them?
I did not.
The fact that the bodies were imitating the movie.
Hold up.
It probably
Ah, I
is
missed it.
Hajime's fault.
That's exactly the one I need the invitation ticket for. I'm not the killer. Should be a contradiction somewhere. Need to find that and break through.
Hajime's testimony is clearly suspicious.
If Hajime's testimony is a lie, then the fact that Ibuki hung herself...
That would also be a lie.
I don't think I can deny. After all, Hajime is the only witness.
Why would Hajime lie?
Well, obviously, because he's the killer.
It was like getting more
Hajime
time
killed
back.
both of them?
The fact that the bodies were imitating the movie.
There we go.
No, that's wrong.
Counter. Break.
I'm not the killer. I mean, there's no way I'd be able to imitate that movie.
Of course you're not. I already knew that.
Huh?
Before the incident, Hajime had never watched that movie. His invitation ticket is proof of that.
He was baiting us.
Each person only received one ticket, and they're marked with a stamp that shows the date and time. Isn't that right, Monokuma?
Yes, no mistakes there.
Which means there's no way Hajime, who never saw the movie, could commit murders that imitated it. Or did anyone tell him what happens in the movie? Of course no one did, right?
Hold on a sec. You're the one who brought this up in the first place.
I want to hear his reasoning.
Nagito, what are you doing?
Well, since we're opening with your witness testimony, I thought we should solidify the foundation.
Makes sense.
And also provides a good warm-up.
Okay. That's a little crazy, but okay.
What warm-up? This isn't a game, you know.
Ha.
Don't get mad. I just think warming up is really important. Especially since this isn't a game.
I mean, it's a light question, gets us a good foundation of information, and it basically clears us to be like, hey, what? That pop up there. But you have to prove without a shadow of a doubt that he's not a suspect. Exactly. So you kind of like softball that to be like, hey, this is pretty much the proof that we need to know. This base witness testimony that we're going to be basing this trial on is truthful. So I think it still makes sense.
What a waste of time. Well, I knew it would turn out like this anyway.
Happens.
Now then, since we know Hajime's testimony is reliable, let us move on to the arguments.
So this means Ibuki definitely climbed the stepladder all by herself, right?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Then that seals it. Ibuki committed suicide.
I mean,
If Ibuki committed suicide, then who killed Hiyoko?
my thoughts on it is you could definitely have had a killer order Ibuki to kill somebody and then order Ibuki to kill herself. Because that would make Ibuki an accomplice and would get rid of the evidence of who the killer was. Like, you could do that, I think, with the rules of the game, how it's laid out.
A murder coincidentally occurring in the same place as a suicide. Ain't possible, huh?
No, that also can't happen.
Like I said before, it's pretty clear what the problem with this case is. The killer murdered Hiyoko while Hajime was gone.
That is the interesting thing that we don't know yet.
So all we gotta do is establish who could have possibly done that.
Yeah.
Then let's ask Hajime. How long would you say you were away from the music venue?
I couldn't have been gone for more than 10 minutes.
Yeah, we had time to go from the music venue, run over to the motel, meet Gundam, and then get Chiaki to bring us over.
So they killed Hiyoko and taped her up within 10 minutes? There's no way that's possible.
That's why the killer stalled for time by making the music venue a closed room.
What do you mean, a closed room?
They sealed it up.
The killer blocked the venue door from the inside to try and keep us from entering right away.
However, that door is the only entrance to the music venue, right?
As far as I'm aware, there's not even like a window or anything to that place.
If they blocked the door from the inside, the killer would not have been able to leave either.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Which means, when we broke down the venue door, the killer was still inside.
They were?
If that's the case, the only suspicious people are those who don't have an alibi for that time. And that's you two, Sonia and Kazuichi.
I mean, those are the two I was expecting.
Me too?
You weren't there. We couldn't find you.
What the hell? Why's it gotta be us?
Because neither of you were around at that time.
The others all have alibis. Chiaki, Mikan, Hajime, and I all broke down the venue door together.
Yeah, we know those four were outside.
Gundam met up with Hajime at the motel right before that.
So we know he wasn't in the music venue.
And if Akane and Nagito were laid up in the hospital, the only person that leaves is one of you.
There's another person who doesn't have an alibi. You know, Nekomaru.
Yeah, he's not here, though.
Me too!
What?
Hey, why are you talking like, huh?
Oh?
You're kidding, right? You're not up to something weird, are you?
Is Nekomaru talking through Monokuma or something?
Please stop making bad jokes.
Anyway, if the killer was hiding inside the venue, we should obviously doubt the people who don't have alibis.
What a wicked way of backing us into a wall. Is this his professional skill?
He is a Yakuza. The killer was inside the music venue. Fuyuhiko obviously thinks so, but is that really it? I mean, make your argument. The semi-transparent glob, maybe?
The killer was still inside the music venue. By locking the door from the inside, they tried to keep us from getting in.
It seems they were trying to stall for time.
How did they lock the door? That door should not have had a lock.
The lock was on the floor in front of the door.
Are you talking about the broken drumstick?
You can use that as a bolt to lock the door. By doing that, the killer who was hiding inside waited till we gathered together and suddenly appeared.
So they looked like they had just rushed over. I have seen this in serial crime dramas.
That person's remark contradicts the truth. I should be able to prove that with my evidence.
The killer was still inside the music venue. By locking the door from the inside, they tried to keep
Damn
us
it,
from
I missed
getting
it.
in.
It seems they were trying to stall for time.
How did they lock the door? That door should not have had a lock.
The lock was on the floor in front of...
Are you talking about the broken drumstick?
You can use that as a bolt to lock the door. By doing that, the killer who was hiding inside waited till we gathered together and suddenly appeared.
So they look like they... I have seen this in serial crime dramas.
Person remark. Okay. I think I know what I need to use this on.
The killer was still inside the music venue. By locking the door from the inside...
There we go.
No, that's wrong.
Counter. Break.
Hold on a sec. There's also a possibility that the door was locked from the outside.
From the outside? How?
There was a semi-transparent glob stuck to the venue door. Maybe that's what they used.
They basically glued it closed.
Semi-transparent glob. Like rubber, maybe?
It wasn't rubber at all. That semi-transparent glob was probably glue.
I see! That semi-transparent glob must have been glue.
Glue?
Yeah, I think so too. It had a firm, gel-like chewiness. And I could smell workshop chemicals the moment I put it in my mouth.
Why did you put it in your mouth, Shaki? I forgot about that.
Based on all that, I'm certain certain it was glue.
Definitely wasn't edible, but also if it wasn't edible, why did you put it in your mouth?
I didn't know glue was edible.
It's not Akane.
I believe it is not something one typically eats.
That glue is only applied to the areas where both doors touched. By pouring it in the gaps of the closed door, they must have sealed the venue door from the outside.
And thanks to that, a glob of glue was left where the door was stuck. Yep, it fits perfectly. But if you just stick them together with glue, you'd be able to break down the door easily, you know?
But that's what we did.
That doesn't really matter. The killer only did that to make us think the door was locked from the inside.
What'd you say?
First of all, didn't that drumstick we found seem really obvious? Almost unnaturally so? It was so obvious that it makes more sense to think the killer placed it as a diversion.
Diversionary tactics.
Are you saying the drumstick was a trap the killer set on purpose? Then I totally fell for that fucking trap.
Man, Fuyuhiko feeling bad about himself now.
Apologize to Miss Sonia and me. However, you're not allowed to slice open your stomach this time.
You know, that's an important caveat currently.
In a quarrel, both sides are to blame. That's why it's better to just have no sides at all.
So, during the 10 minutes Hajime
Okay,
left the
Monami.
venue, the killer murdered Hiyoko and created a closed space?
And they also taped her up after killing her, right?
See, here's the thing. Hiyoko could have been killed before that, is the thing. They kept her body somewhere. Could have taped it up afterwards and make it look like she was just killed.
Even quick work has limits.
Aww, what unimaginable speed for a slowpoke like me.
What the fuck?
If they couldn't have done it while Hajime was away from the venue, they must have done it earlier than that.
Earlier?
But when Hajime got to the venue, only Ibuki's body was there, right?
And when you went back with everyone else, Kyoko's body was there too, right? But it's possible that the body was just revealed at that time, when Hiyoko was actually killed earlier.
Yeah, it's like what I was just saying.
Just revealed?
Of course, the body wasn't revealed on its own. The killer did that too.
But how?
Here, I have proof.
Yeah, that's like a thick wallpaper, right?
That scrap of paper. Is that what we found in the baton lighting at the music venue?
That's right, but just what is this scrap anyway?
That's scrap that was stuck on the baton lighting in the music venue. Now, I should be able to figure out what it is. Oh, are we doing a logic dive? Oh, Hangman's Gambit. Okay. Alright. I think it's going to be wallpaper, in which case I need a W. Another L. Give me another L. Ah! Need an A. Another P. What? I need this later. There we go, wallpaper. Got it. Like, way too many things were colliding there.
Scrap. Isn't it part of the wallpaper in the storage room?
Yeah.
In the music venue storage room, there should have been black wallpaper that's the same color as that scrap. There was also a tear along the edge of the wallpaper, wasn't there? If so,
Right. You overlay the scrap that was caught on the lighting, tear in the wallpaper, See? It fits perfectly.
Yeah, kind of does. Might be like a asset design thing, but not quite.
I see. So the scrap that was caught on the baton lighting was originally part of the wallpaper.
Indeed.
And what's wrong with that? Does it have something to do with Hyoko's body disappearing?
A mere nobody like me isn't important enough to answer that.
Nagito, please help us.
But if you guys were exceptional enough to identify that scrap of paper, you can figure this out easily.
Nagito is somewhere in a very odd spot between Hype Man and your biggest enemy. That scrap of paper sucks with baton lighting as part of that wallpaper I found in the storage room. Is it connected to the sudden appearance of Hyoko's body? If I trace it back from there, the answer should become clear. Alright, let's give this a try. Nah, it's a logic dive. Okay. Never know how to play this game. Avoid all of this. Question 1. This body suddenly appear on this crime scene? I'm gonna say it was hidden. That would make sense to me. There we go. Focus. Focus. Speed. Memory. Recollection. You can do it. Question 2. What did the killer use to hide her body? They must use the wallpaper, right? I was correct. Like, why else would there be a tear in that? Alright, we going. Question 3. How did the killer hide her body with the wallpaper? We say they covered the pillar. There we go. Great success.
It's all coming together.
We're doing it. We're solving a mystery. Complete.
Got it. Hyoko's body was hidden before we found it.
But it would have taken quite a long time to tape up a hidden body.
No, the body was already taped up and the killer hid it, along with the pillar using the wallpaper.
What? They hid the pillar?
I mean, yeah, it sounds bizarre, but if they just like put the wallpaper up around the pillar, you probably wouldn't have noticed right away, right?
By wrapping the wallpaper around the pillar, the killer was able to create a slightly larger pillar.
Huh.
So when I first discovered Ibuki's body, Hyoko's body was already there. However, because it was concealed within a slightly larger pillar, I didn't realize that at the time.
Okay, I want to really rewind that. I didn't catch that right away. I don't know if there's a difference, but I feel like there is a difference.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, it makes sense that you'd notice Ibuki's body right away.
Exactly.
So they used the baton lighting on the ceiling to hang the wallpaper?
Okay, yeah, I
Baton
see it
lighting
now.
forms a perfect circle around the pillar. So using it to hang the wallpaper totally fits.
Yeah, I see the difference now.
Then, the reason the wallpaper was covered in so many stickers was to make it look like that pillar.
That's how they hid Hyoko's body, and then peeled off the wallpaper as soon as I left the music room.
Okay.
But the killer made a mistake. They accidentally ripped off a piece of the wallpaper. And because of that, a scrap was left on the baton lighting.
They were going too fast.
The killer must have been in a hurry. Their plan took too long. Hajime could have walked in on them.
But going to the trouble of hiding the body and the pillar is very bold and risky.
But the crime itself would be much easier to pull off since they don't have much to do while Hajime's gone. They just have to peel off that wallpaper and stash it in the storage room. It's not that big of a deal.
Then, when was Hiyoko actually killed?
I have no idea, because we couldn't get an autopsy on the body with the temperature difference.
Good point. And on that note, it's about time we shed some light on those imitation murders.
You mentioned imitation murder more than once. But what is that?
Oh, he'll explain it, I'm sure. Or maybe he just won't explain it.
Are you kidding me? You haven't seen my masterpiece? The Wizard of Monami 2.5D?
Danganronpa 2 is literally just Monokuma on his indie dev arc. That's all it is.
Hey, don't put my likeness in your movies without my permission.
Like a real indie dev who does not understand copyright. Or the Geneva Convention.
You're pretty noisy for someone who eats mothballs.
I don't eat mothballs. I just enjoy looking at them. I knew it. There are so many similarities. It must have been intentional.
Ibuki's death by hanging matches the Scarecrow's death from the movie. Not just that, but Hiyoko getting taped up after her death matches the lion's death.
Wasn't there a third death in that movie, though?
It's as if both crimes were replicas of scenes from the movie, although the mutilated Tin Man was omitted.
Unless the camera's meant to represent the mutilated Tin Man.
But why did the killer go to all this trouble in the first place?
Based on what we know, the reason the killer chose these imitations isn't that difficult to figure out.
I mean, I don't really understand why you would want to imitate a movie, though. The reason the killer imitated the two victims in that movie, let's explain that now. To hide the weapon? I genuinely don't know. Mix up the order?
I see!
The reason the killer imitated two of the murders from the movie was so he'd mix up the killing order.
Then, Hiyoko was actually killed before Ibuki?
Yeah, that one makes, like, I'm still of the mind that whoever killed these two, they could have ordered Ibuki to kill Hiyoko, and then order Ibuki to hang herself. Like, that's what would make sense to me right now.
A valid line of reasoning.
Yeah, it's valid. The condition of Ibuki's body suggests that as well.
What do you mean? If you're going to cry and beg like that, then I guess I'll hear about the condition of Ibuki's body.
I'm not even crying.
She is so deadpan.
I'll let you sob as much as you want later. Just hurry up and tell me before I change my mind.
Gundam, why are you being so extra?
What a jerk!
Oh, I see. You want me to explain it to you, right? Because you don't understand what I'm saying, right?
An even bigger jerk? Impossible!
Look, Ibuki died because she hanged herself, right? That means when she was still alive, her feet were touching the floor.
What's wrong with that?
But it seems Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was killed.
Excuse me?
That would mean Hiyoko was killed before Ibuki.
How light. Your words are so light as the silk's feather. Your opponent is out of your league. It is too absurd to try to perplex me so inadequately.
I'm lost on this one, but okay.
Man, he's being annoying again.
First and foremost, you claim Ibuki's feet were touching the floor when Hiyoko was killed. How can a low-class creature with no psychic abilities like you know something like that?
Because she was doing something that's only possible if her feet were on the floor.
Did she have blood on her feet?
It seems you suffer from a pathetic delusion.
Oh no. The four Dark Devas.
You're one to talk.
Anyway, if this continues, we're just gonna talk in circles. I think it's best we clarify Ibuki's status when Hiyoko was killed. Make your argument. Put blood on the souls.
When Hiyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on something? Were there even any footprints at the crime scene?
Maybe her feet were on the floor. But she was like sitting or something. So instead, there'd be a mark on her ass.
Weak, I say! It doesn't even pierce my heart.
Shiaki said Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was killed, but is that really true?
When Hiyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on something? Were there even any footprints at the crime scene?
Maybe her feet were on the floor, but she was like sitting or something. So instead, there'd be a mark on her ass.
Weak, I say! It doesn't even pierce my heart.
When Hiyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
Okay, so not there. So I'm probably gonna have to take Sonya's thing. Does the evidence you just presented contradict what I said? Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was killed, for sure.
Crap!
Looks like I messed up. Try to think this over again.
When Hiyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on something? Were
What?
there even any footprints at the crime scene?
Maybe her feet were, but she was like sitting. So instead, there'd be a mark.
Weak, I say! It doesn't even pierce my heart.
When Hiyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on, was there any sign she stepped on something?
What? Why can't I? Won't let me copy it. If Ibuki's feet were on the ground when Hiyoko was killed, I thought there would be proof that she stepped on something, but perhaps I was wrong.
Crap!
When Hiyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
Okay. What's the button for, like, copying something? Because apparently I don't remember. Yeah, I did. Why didn't let me copy it?
Crap!
When Hiyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on something? Were there even any...
Why didn't it load a bullet?
Maybe her feet were on the floor. But she was like sitting or something. So instead, there'd be a mark on her ass.
Weak, I say! It doesn't even pierce my heart.
Candle. Jack said Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was killed, but is that really true?
When Hiyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the... Was there any sign she stepped on something? Were there even any footprints at the crime scene?
Maybe her feet were on the floor. But she was like sitting or something. So instead, there'd be a mark on her ass.
Weak, weak, I say!
Why is it not letting me copy any bullets? Jack said Buki was still standing when Kyoko was killed, but is that really true? I don't even know anymore.
Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on something? Were there even any footprints at the crime scene?
Why is he not letting me copy?
That she was like sitting or something. So instead, there'd be a mark on her ass.
Weak, 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 I say! It doesn't even pierce my heart.
I feel like my game's bugged or something, because like I literally just won't let me copy.
When Kyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on something? Were there even any footprints at the crime scene?
Maybe her feet were on the floor. That she was like sitting or something. So instead, there'd be a mark on her ass.
Weak, 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 I say! It doesn't even pierce my heart.
Okay, like actually, what is up with my shit? Target a weak spot and then hold down the left mouse button. You can use that weak spot as a temporary truth bullet later in the argument. Am I doing this wrong again? Wait, yeah, the blue shit is for agreement, not for copying. That's what it's on. That's what I'm doing here right now. Alright. I'm getting this mixed up because I haven't played in so long. I'm not. The game's not bugged. My memory is just bugged.
When Kyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
There we go.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on something?
Damn it. Yuki's feet were on the ground when Kyoko was killed. Would there be proof that she stepped on something, but perhaps I was wrong? Apparently I did hit that.
When Kyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were... Was there any sign she stepped on something? Were there even any footprints at the crime scene?
Maybe her feet were on the floor. That she was like sitting or something. So instead, there'd be a mark on her ass.
What the heck am I doing? I'm sometimes get distracted by Kazuichi. Alright.
When Kyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on?
There we go.
Agree with that.
Consent! Man, just... I don't play a game for like 2 weeks. I have to relearn all the controls.
Ibuki stepped on something. That something was blood. There were faint blood stains on the soles of her slippers.
That is not Ibuki's blood, right? She suffered no external injuries.
No, she did not, Sonia.
Then it's Hiyoko's blood.
Hyoko's only wound was a fatal slice on her neck. And she died almost instantly, right?
If Ibuki stepped on her blood...
It means Ibuki was still standing when Hyoko was mortally wounded. Which means Ibuki was still alive at the exact moment Hyoko was killed.
Alright, so there's the proof that we have the order of this now.
Don't underestimate the
Oh?
power of the evil eye.
Gundam?
Is that it? A shepherd dressed in his Sunday's finest still reeks of lamb, Hajime Hinata.
How is that relevant, Gundam?
Does that mean you have a rebuttal?
Does that mean you have a rebuttal? That's a good line. But are you sure you're sure? If I show you how serious I am, this world might be destroyed.
Alright, come on, Gundam. Draw your blade.
You're so frightened you can't even make a sound. It seems you've realized our difference in status. However, the time for conviction starts now. You better entertain me to the fullest.
Alright, let's go. Rebuttal showdown. Let's go with the smudge on the floor for now.
You're saying the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged to Hiyoko? Ha! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no... You can't step on blood that was never there.
Alright, fuck that up.
Damn it!
You're saying the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged to Hiyoko? Ha! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no... You can't step on blood that was never there. Just about see a nice nightmare.
Despite his exaggerated approach, I feel like I've already seen an opening to counter. Is this a trap?
You're saying the blood on Ibuki's... Ha! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood on the floor. You can't step on blood that was never... Just see a nice nightmare.
Advance.
As long as Ibuki's body has no open wounds, there's no doubt that that blood is Hyoko's.
Hiyoko was taped to the pillar, yes. But it's possible that the pillar still had blood on it. However, you cannot step on the pillar with your feet. You should... It's been nearly 3 years since I've had to use 60% of my power.
Retreat.
Damn it!
Dan has overcome. He's gonna go back to the original topic. I have not seen anything Danganronpa 3, but I fucking love this, man. Hey, Jake. This is Danganronpa 2. I don't know if Danganronpa 3 features Gundam as well. But yeah, Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. Though, I guess it's like the third game in the timeline, because there's the first game, then Despair Girls, then Goodbye Despair, and then B3 is like the next one. How you been, man? Been a while.
You're saying the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged to Hiyoko? Ha! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood on the floor. You can't step on blood that was never there.
Ah, drew at the wrong time.
Just did you see a nice nightmare?
Advance.
As long as Ibuki's body has no open wounds, there's no doubt that that blood is Hyoko's.
Hiyoko was taped to the pillar, yes, but it's possible that the pillar still had blood on it. However, you cannot step on the pillar with... It's been nearly 3 years since I've had to use 60% of my power.
Damn it. The story won't be any place for me to counter. Just I thought that word from earlier was the opening for his rebuttal. From back, the topic looks like I have to be pushed back on purpose.
Hiyoko was taped to the pillar, yes.
Alright. The game's reminding me of like, yes, gotta go back. Oh, this is 2. I've only seen the anime for 1 LXD. You know, I think, what's I going for?
You should feel proud.
They did make an anime for this, and I think it had like a hope arc and a despair arc. I think the anime mix of like Danganronpa 1 and Danganronpa 2. I think. Probably watch it. Heard it's good.
Impossible. Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood on the floor.
Cut. Counter.
Those words. That's not it. The reason there was no blood on the floor is because the killer wiped it away afterward.
You're missing out. The game is much better.
Don't say such foolish things. You don't have proof of that at all.
I do still want to watch the anime, just 'cause I think it would be an interesting look at things. Because just like a different way of looking at a piece of media, you know? I think it'd be cool. Though I don't have any idea where I can watch it. I have Crunchyroll now. So if it's on Crunchyroll, I can watch it. But like, the other website I used to use, I think got taken down. So, if it's not on Crunchyroll, then I'm probably not watching it at this point.
Yes, I do.
I do have proof.
If you look closely, there's a streak on the floor where blood was wiped away.
Indeed there is.
When the killer tried to hide Hyoko's body, they probably cleaned the blood at the same time, but Ibuki must have already stepped in it, and the killer probably didn't even realize it.
The reason they wiped off the blood on the floor was so we'd mix up the order of the murders, right?
Potentially. It seems like everything that they did in this murder was trying to mix up and confuse the order of deaths, more so than anything else. Funimation had it, so maybe? Right, Funimation got, like, bought into Crunchyroll. Because, you know, we can't actually have anything competing, right? Yeah, they probably do then. That's something that's a new thing I can watch. Because I'm watching, like, 3 things right now, and they're all seasonal things. I'd like to have something that's, like, done. I can just binge it again. That'd be nice. I don't think I actually have any binge time for anything anytime soon.
Even if they're able to hide Hyoko's body, it'd be bad if her blood was left out in the open.
Plus, Ibuki's body was left out in the open, and it wasn't bleeding from any open wounds at all.
Hyoko's body was probably wrapped in duct tape to stop her bleeding. Actually, the bleeding will stop once the heart stops beating, so I don't think they had to go that far.
Thank you for your medical advice, Mikan.
Aside from Mikon, none of us were aware of that fact, so the killer probably did not know it either.
Maybe the heater was running inside the music venue so it would screw with Mikan's autopsy?
Well, if they knew heat messed with an autopsy, would they know about heart, though?
That's right! I didn't know the time of death because of the heater!
The time of death wasn't mentioned in the Monokuma file just to keep concrete evidence from us.
Yep. Since we have all this evidence, there's no one else who wants to object, right? Then it's decided. Hyoko was killed before Ibuki.
Alright, we have the order of events now.
It appears that it is wiser to retreat for now. Fine then, but regardless of good or evil, there's no deceit in upholding one's convictions.
Gundam's just in his own anime, and I love it.
Can't you just shut up and back off?
Now then, let us resume our debate.
Wait a sec. There's something I want to run by Monokuma first.
Ah, give us more info. Wonderful.
Huh? Again? Didn't something like this happen last time, too?
Hey, if the victim actually committed suicide, what are we supposed to do?
It is a good question. If the victim actually committed suicide, what are we supposed to do? Because, okay. Ibuki committed suicide. So if Ibuki was the one who killed Hyoka, do we just vote for someone that's already dead? Is that what the angle he's going for here? Huh? Suicide?
The same as always. You have to vote for who the killer is. Think about it. A suicide means you kill the most important existence of all, yourself. Unfortunately, that means there's no blackened to punish, but I guess in a pinch, I can always punish Monami.
Monokuma's just looking for an excuse to be mean to Monami. He doesn't need an excuse, he just does that.
Nagito, what do you mean? If the victim actually committed suicide?
I remember there was a suicide in Danganronpa 1, right? Yes, there was. Fuck, what was her name? I think it was Sakura. I think Sakura was her name. In the first game, Sakura drank poison because she'd gotten into trouble because it was revealed she was a spy for Monokuma, but she never actually killed anybody. Her attempts to make up with her peers didn't go well, and she ended up just drinking poison in a locked room. I remember Oi was actually trying to throw us off that trial because she was really angry at everybody for what they, you know, effectively what bullying did to Sakura. That was how that trial went in the first game. Which actually, weirdly enough, this is the third trial, and the third trial in the first game was also a double murder. So we are repeating some things in this one. Because in the first game, it was... Fuck, what were their names? It was Celeste... Celeste killed... Fuck, names. Terrible at them. Tanaka and Hiburi, I think were their names. Yeah. So, like, I was thinking in this one that maybe, like, Kazuichi and Sonya were, like, killer and accomplice for this, but I don't know anymore. Because now it's revealed, like, they don't have an alibi for that time, but technically anybody could have done it, is what we've been revealed, because it wasn't required for anybody to be locked in that room. Alright, let's keep her going.
Well, I mean, I understand Hyoko's death, but I'm wondering if Ibuki was really murdered. For example, it's possible Ibuki killed Hyoko, and then committed suicide due to a guilty conscience, right?
Possible, but no, because Ibuki had the despair curse that she didn't really do anything unless told.
That's totally impossible. Then she never would have killed her to begin with.
There's no proof of that one, actually.
She was afflicted by the despair disease, remember? That means anything can happen.
But if Ibuki's the killer, she wouldn't have been able to falsify the sequence of the murders, right?
Yeah.
After Hajime saw the hanged body, the sudden appearance of Hyoko's body soon after means the killer had to be alive at that time.
Then she was alive.
Oh? What?
When Hajime first discovered Ibuki, she was just pretending to be dead.
How do you pretend to be hung?
If she waited until Hajime left, that's when she could have made her move and mess with the crime scene.
She was literally hanging by the neck.
She hanged herself, remember? There's no fucking way she could have faked that.
She was a musician, not like a fucking Houdini.
And if she was going to fake her death, I think she wouldn't have chosen hanging. Her body would have been defenseless in that state. If anyone touched her, that alone would have ruined her plan.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
I see. So that means there's no doubt that someone killed those two. I'm glad. Now I'm free to search for the killer.
What? Nagito just confuses me with every word he says, but I'm also kind of hanging off every word he says, because I'm just intrigued by the madness.
What the heck? There's still one more issue on my mind. If Ibuki didn't commit suicide, just what was that video Hajime saw?
It could have been pre-recorded, is the thing I'm still wondering about. Because we never saw Ibuki hang herself in the video, we just saw somebody in a gown and a mask climbing a stepladder. And I think somebody mentioned that there was a missing gown. They could have just fully played dress up and pretended to like do that as a setup. Huh?
According to that video you saw, Ibuki was by herself when she climbed the stepladder, right?
Yes.
Then does that mean someone forced her to do it?
She could have been forced to do it.
Forced? Perhaps they used hypnotism or something?
Wouldn't even be hypnotized. She had the despair curse where if you told her to do something, she just did it. Somebody could have just said, Ibuki, climb the stepladder and hang yourself.
I don't know anything about that.
Don't say it all proud.
Putting that aside, it seems obvious that the killer did something.
Yeah, something had to have been done somewhere.
So, maybe we should figure out who was able to do whatever that was. So, an alibi.
We need alibis again.
Then our plan is to destroy the weakest alibi.
Oh, that's an odd way to phrase it.
Since Hajime has seen the video, it is clear what time the crime took place.
Unless it was pre-recorded.
But just to be sure, that surveillance camera doesn't have a record function, right?
Actually, okay, this is important information.
It's a cheap-ass surveillance camera, you know? There's no way it'd have some kind of sweet recording feature.
Then, the video Hajime saw was actually live?
What time did Hajime see that video?
I saw it at the hospital, right before Monokuma's morning announcement.
So like what? Like 6:50-ish?
And I saw the body at the music video a little after Monokuma's announcement.
So Ibuki hanged herself right before Monokuma's announcement. And since we established that Hiyoko was killed before Ibuki, that means the time that the murders occurred was before and during the announcement.
Thinking, because this just doesn't feel right to me. How did they have the system set up? They had the system set up so there was one monitor with one camera, and the monitor linked to one camera. How do I explain this properly? So they had a setup where they had a monitor and a camera, one in the hospital lobby and one in the music venue. For the idea of like the monitor in the music venue was linked to the camera in the lobby, and the monitor in the lobby was linked to the camera in the music venue. Could they have just switched the cameras, maybe? If somebody like taken the camera from one place, they could have recorded a different location. They could have done that. In which case it would have been the killer acting and pretending that they could. Let's let this play through, because I have an idea, but I kind of need to see how this goes.
Then we just have to find the person who doesn't have an alibi during that time?
Now then, I shall issue my decree. Let Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi commence.
Alright, let's rock and roll. Make your argument. He gives accounts on his account, moves invitation ticket, and Khan's account. I don't remember anybody's account. I'm just gonna let it run.
Sick people like me and Akane, right?
And what about the others?
Right before the morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I mean, no proof of
Everyone
that.
at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the motel doesn't have an alibi. What about you guys? I was where I was supposed to be, my own cottage.
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi, then Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi has failed.
The murder supposedly happened before and during the morning announcement. Where's an alibi for that time?
We can
I'm not sure
exclude the
about
sick
that.
people like me and Akane, right?
And what about the others?
Right before I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I think everyone at the motel was doing.
So everyone who stayed at... What about you guys? I was where I was supposed to be, my own...
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi,
Oh, McConn's account worked.
wrong.
Sweet.
Hold on. Not all of us are missing an alibi. In fact, Mikan and I both have alibis.
you two have alibis?
Oh yeah, let's go.
Up until I saw that hanging video, Mikan and I were actually together for a while.
We even woke up together that morning.
Oh,
Hey, what kind of situation is that?
the kind of situation you only see in an anime.
I accidentally fell asleep on top of Hajime.
Shiaki is stunned.
Too much info.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not like that. She just came to tell me Nagito's condition had improved.
And fell asleep on top of you, Hajime.
And we went to the hospital together afterward. So we were together until right before the announcement.
I get it. You guys have alibis.
it's so slide, you know?
If that's the case, the killer must be someone else.
It's better if we think about it like that. The killer decided to falsify the murder sequence to hide the actual time of the crime anyway.
So it's inevitable that an alibi for both before and during the morning announcement would be very important.
It feels like Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi has backed us into a corner instead.
But committing an imitation murder, is that really all it was?
I don't know. Huh?
Faking the time the crime occurred by falsifying the murder sequence, hiding their alibi in the process? Was that the only reason the killer made both bodies imitate the movie?
I'm sure you have a reasoning here, Nagito, and I would like to hear it.
Are you saying there was another reason?
I feel really bad for confusing you guys so much, but that's how I feel. I think the killer had a completely different reason for falsifying the murder sequence.
Why? I mean, okay. The imitation murder was a weird thing premise go off in the first place, because, like, it's almost too obvious, right? The killer had a different reason? If that's the case... Are we still in the killer's trap? So the image really... Inside a trap set by one of us? If so, then... whose? What kind of trap is it? Are we in a recess here or something? Class trial. Suspended.
Hiya!
Why, hello there, mon ami. The moss balls sure look tasty today. Stop it! Don't characterize me as someone who lives off moss balls. And here's some chance time. What? What's that? Now then, Mommy's appeal time starts now. Huh? Appeal time? Your kind-hearted big brother is gonna give you the chance to reclaim your honor. Good luck. Show those jerks who treat you like a red-headed stepchild who's boss. That's 99% your fault. While you were whining, your time's already running out. So please, make your appeal simple. About 30,000 words or so. That's too long. It'll just be a boring appeal. Come on, if your appeal is successful, there might be merchandise opportunities heading your way. Then... I'm Usami, magical miracle girl Usami. I'm an itty-bitty girl who's sweet like milk. Jeez, I thought a certain robot's little sister was supposed to be the best.
What a disappointment!
Yeah, I remember some of that too. Hell yeah. I remembered something from a game I haven't played in a very long time.
Who are you talking about? I have no clue whatsoever.
I also don't really know what that reference is. Yeah.